on Monday night, January 20th. Roll call of directors, please.
Donna?
Here.
Megan?
Here.
Kelly Zebro?
Here.
Peter?
Here.
Diane Gorman?
Here.
Paul?
Here.
Jessica?
Here.
Calandra Zebro?
Here.
And Kevin.
Item 3, pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 4, approval of the minutes from our December 17th meeting. If there are no corrections or changes, I would seek a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Calandra and a second by Paul. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Item 5, approval of the agenda. If there are no corrections or questions, I would seek a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda.
We have a motion by Kelly. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
A second by Donna. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Item 6, special presentation of Mosinee Elementary School.
You know, before you start, I want to say, the elementary school has some of the coolest shirts I have ever seen. If you haven't been there, go there and see their shirts. They're incredible. They're very well dressed.
No, this is here. Do you want the podium, guys, or? No. Okay. This here, Lori, that will quick. Okay, I'm just gonna start us off and turn it over to our awesome team here. We're really excited to share, kind of where we've come and where we're headed with our elementary school Fab Lab. We were awarded a grant, and the team will kind of get into that. But we are moving full force, and great things are happening, and we're really excited to start this whole process and really get this up and running for our students. So I'm going to turn it over. We have Lori Hodgson here, and Chris Olson and Lori Ajema that are going to talk through a few of our members that have been on this team from the beginning and walk us through kind of where we're at.
Well, this has been a huge team effort with lots of different moving pieces, from technology experts to administration, curriculum. So it's been an interesting and neat process that we started about a year ago, a little over a year ago. Super excited about it, and we just kind of wanted to update you on some of the tools that we've gotten and what we're training with. So we were awarded $25,000, and then the school gave us a $12,500 match to go with that, was part of the deal. So we were able to get a lot of interesting and elementary appropriate tools. So this is a cardboard router so that the kids can use cardboard to fabricate models and make things with it. Kind of an example of what they can do with that. We also got hand tools, and with the 3D printers we can print screws. The kids can design screws with different thread amounts, and tools for connecting and making 3D projects out of cardboard. So that's been kind of a cool thing. We got regular 3D printers that the teachers can use, and then the art and computer lab kids can design on and then print with the 3D printers. For the littles, there are handheld 3D printers that they can use for making things like their initials and kind of see how to build with layers for that. For like the third graders, talking about electricity, reusable energy, renewable energies, circuitry and how they work. We can 3D print. They can print the flashlights, customize them, see the positives and negatives. For the littles, we have snap circuits, so they just snap apart easily switches and lights and fans and talk about how circuits work. And they get to make them, and it's kind of nice because then they can lead the activities, right? And the teachers can talk less, and as the kids discover and ask questions, it's a nice way to build vocabulary. Kind of stuff here. I think it's important, like I think it was really important for the school district to buy into this, like reading with this whole Act 20 thing going on. The research is showing that students with high knowledge in science and social studies, but low reading scores, will outrank on tests a lot of students with high reading performance in a classroom and those low science and social studies skills. So I think it helps build vocabulary while also that grit, that creativity, that problem solving that's really needed. You want to talk about how like meetings have gone?
So throughout the year so far, we've had quite a few meetings. We've been meeting as a team with the administration and the different people involved, including Kelly Schmidt from over at the high school, who's been a huge help with us getting this together. And then also on top of this, Lori and I are part of a STEAM network through CISA, and we've been attending meetings. Actually, it started last year, and we had a lot of their middle school and high school teachers that are part of this as well, and so they actually helped us quite a bit with what to get, what not to get, what worked well in their schools, and actually they'll be coming in April to see what we have set up so far. And we've just, this has been, let's see what else we have up there. We also had some meetings with, let's see, was it Lakeland? No.
North Lakeland.
North Lakeland, yep. With their Fab Lab to see what that looks like, how that's run. So it's been a collaboration of a lot of different people to get this going.
Who was involved with the application for the grant?
Last year, it was a team effort, and so thank you, team, for supporting us in getting that in, but it was definitely a team effort. I worked with then Board President Gorman to make sure that the grant was written well, and thank you for supporting that board last year. So that was something that was started administratively, bought into by the teachers, and again, we have a Fab Lab leadership team. It's mostly elementary right now, but I love that connection with Kelly Schmidt. We're looking at more of a K-12 Fab Lab STEAM mindset as we move forward.
And Steve was a big part of it, as well as Christy getting that going as well.
And one thing that was brought up by actually the people that the organization we got the grant from, was that we are in a unique position at our elementary with having technology. We also have STEM and art and library media specialist. They're all using this Fab Lab space together, which is a lot of use that we're getting.
Raise up some engineers, we need them.
We have 2 mobile carts that will have things that all teachers can then take to their classroom, such as the cardboard routers and the 3D pens and some of the circuitry stuff that's portable to their classrooms, as well as some other cross-curricular, like we've got a weather station that we're putting in, so Christmas morning announcement kids can work on weather forecasting and,
We'll have a daily forecast.
yeah, and then, I don't know, Lori,
You need a
can
rain
talk
gauge?
little bit about, yes.
Do you want a rain gauge?
We have one now.
Oh, okay.
But we'll
I
take
can get you an
another.
official one.
Yeah, I'll take an official one.
How often do the students get to, is it a class, they got the portable things? How often are the kids being exposed to it?
Well, we're just setting it up right
Okay.
now. I mean, we're just in the process of unboxing, and then the next is really sitting down and planning, like, curricular areas get together, like I might do something in library. I bought 3D goggles last year that we want to incorporate part of this, and then any pertainable library materials that go with, and then they might go from what they talk about with me into a lesson in science and maybe something up in the classroom. We also have to train the teachers how to use it, so we're hoping for some of our in-service days coming up to be able to actually show people how to use it properly.
The plan is to have a regular rotation type thing where kids are being exposed to it on a regular basis?
Yep,
Yeah.
and through, like, for example, right now, I'm doing a lesson on combining 2D shapes on the computer to make images. At the same time, our art teacher in art class is teaching the third graders how to combine 3D shapes using Tinkercad, which is then a app that they can then use to make their images become a reality in 3D printers. So we're doing that currently. We're hoping to take that up a notch. Well, they'll be doing the actual design with me on the computers, and then they can do that with him on the 3D printers.
And prior to that, in STEM, the students talked about naming the faces and the angles of them and drawing and sketching 3D shaped models and holding the models and unfolding the models and then building them with different tools within the STEM lab. So kind of building those lessons.
It's exciting to see the collaboration with this team, just a phenomenal team. So we're just starting to graze the surface of really where we can head with this, but exciting to think where we can go with it. Yeah.
One thing we were talking about, like safety, starting with safety and proper use of the equipment right away, because we're talking about how sometimes kids, the older kids, they buck like not wanting to wear their safety goggles and that kind of stuff as they get older into those types of classes where they need them. So we're going to start having them put on right away and just get used to it, so it's second nature.
Teaching those foundational skills so that it builds.
And then our hope is to have some summer programs, right, for some more intensive type for the kids, right, that are really interested in it. And then part of the grant was to make sure that community involvement happens. So, 4-H wants to come in and do a circuitry lesson. They can bring their materials, we'll train them on a few things, and then they are also able to use the equipment in the facility.
And we also have a full range of cricket. If you're familiar with cricket, you can cut out lots of different things. We have a full range from making T-shirts for different projects with the community. We have a mug. You can make
Sublimator.
Sublimator for making mugs, and so there's lots of different ways that the community. We have two laser cutters.
So we can engrave on a variety of materials. Got a rotary tool. They could do their own water bottles if they wanted to. If families want to come in, maybe we do, right, family events where instead of kids buying their T-shirts, they can come in with their families and create their T-shirts, bring them in. So
Definitely lots of opportunities
Yeah.
down the line to bring the community into our school and be involved with the process.
It's great to get them started at a young age like that, it's really cool. Are you gonna do anything with summer school with this now?
That is the goal, yes.
Okay.
Part of that grant is to get this kind of up and running and trying it out during summer school. So we're collaborating with really some of this team on how we could have a summer school class held there and what that could look like. So more to come on there.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Great work.
We have a student board report.
We don't have one?
We don't have a student board report. Nope.
So
I
there,
just attached the student board report with you.
okay, all right. So we'll skip over that. Moving on to public forum, Sheena, did we have any, nobody signed up for the public forum?
But you did, because I filled it out on Friday and sent
There
it in.
is nothing on
I submitted it from your website. It told me, thank you for submitting, we'll get back to you.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I did it on Friday afternoon.
okay, nope, okay, so the public forum provides the public with the opportunity to ask questions about or address issues included on the school board meeting agenda. General operating rules of the public forum will be determined by the board president once the number of people wishing to participate is identified. So please, at this time, if you can let us know what item on the agenda that you're speaking to, and then your name and address.
I'm speaking to the meeting minutes from the last meeting, the December 17th meeting. My name is Chris Schley.
Okay? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. All right, sorry. So I would like to address the meeting minutes from the December meeting regarding the denial of a middle school head gymnastics coach. As the high school coach for the past 29 years, the gymnastics program has been discussed by the board a number of times. I've tried to join in the discussion. The first time I was told through the AD that I would not be allowed to speak due to not being on the agenda. I then requested the board to delay the December meeting discussion as the high school team was at an away meet that night, and I never received a response. In early November, the AD delivered the message from the school board that the gymnastics team may have to cut coaches and that this would possibly be our last year. The current budget is for 4 gymnastics coaches, 2 at each level. We purposely did not pursue hiring an assistant middle school coach in an effort to save costs. We have also done our best to lower costs of the program over the years. The program has funded our own equipment costs 100% for the past 10 to 15 years. From 2008 to 2013, we actually paid $2,000 to the school board in exchange for a piece of equipment each year. 2 of those 5 years, we did not receive any equipment. Our needs for custodial staff are minimal, approximately 12 hours per year. Our numbers are small, but we have been consistent with 6 to 12 girls per year for the past 10 years. Part of the success is the middle school feeder program that is now being decimated. Why have you cut a budgeted coaching position at the start of the season? Due to this confusion, 4 girls have decided not to participate. According to the WIAA guidelines, an equal number of sports needs to be offered to boys and girls each season. How can there be a middle school program if there is no coach? We have 20 state qualifiers in the time I have been coaching. We currently have a 2024 state qualifier working to repeat this year, along with a number of other potential qualifiers. Why are we putting a successful varsity program at risk rather than looking across the board at other sports in ways to cut expenses? I reached out to the WIAA for any regulations regarding combining high school and middle school programs. The representative did not recommend decisions that would reduce the amount of time attention the high school athletes receive be implemented. The AD received an email from the superintendent suggesting the high school coaches cover both programs or give up a portion of their compensation to pay for the middle school coach. However, per last month's board meeting, there is no middle school coach. Another option was a volunteer coach. All of these options present huge liability and safety concerns, along with compromising the quality of coaching for both teams. There's a lot going on in a practice with 4 very different events and high-risk skills being performed. Coaches are actively spotting to keep our athletes safe from injury. The high school is midway through their season. Making these changes puts the success of our program at risk. What happens to the contracts that the high school coaches have signed? Have you cut any other budgeted coaching positions this year? So, and just as in closing, I would like to invite all of you. We have 2 home meets this year. Unfortunately, tomorrow night was canceled due to weather, but January 28th and February 11th. And then they'll reschedule the Ashland one at some point. 5:45 in the middle school gym. Please come and see what these girls are doing. It's not just cartwheels and forward rolls. There are some high-risk things that sometimes it takes all of us, both of us coach spotting at the same time. We need more than 1 coach per program. We had it all figured out, we're overlapping practices, and then we cut the program, and now you're trying to change our current contracts and don't understand how that can happen. So, thank you for listening.
You're welcome.
I don't know,
Chris, do you mind, do you have a copy of that?
just mine, I can email it to you.
If you could
Yeah.
email, because without Kevin here, I'm just kind of
Okay, yeah, I
in
can
place
email it to all
of,
of you.
and then, because it's not on the agenda to speak at, I mean, they can
Yeah, I
discuss it with.
apologize that, I know I
Yeah.
did, but
That's okay, that's okay.
So,
All
thank
right.
you.
Well, thank you for your time.
Diane, Greg, can we look in, this is the second time now we've had an issue with the form. Dan Lejenak,
Yeah.
there's something going on, this form is not going through.
Okay.
Something's happening, we need to look
We
at
can
that.
do that for like the future agenda items, we'll add
I mean,
that.
I must be a technological glitch, because if 2 people are doing it, there's a problem.
I
right?
think it should just be eliminated altogether, but
So public forum form.
it doesn't ask for your email address, I don't think either. I know it was my first and last name and what I wanted to talk to, because I had kind of expected an email response to say we
Sure,
received it,
sure.
but I didn't.
Okay, no, we'll look
But then when I
into
went back and looked at it, I didn't ever have an opportunity to put that in.
Okay,
I'm
So
wondering
that
if we're
might be
missing other
something good,
people.
at least we received it.
right.
Well, I know
Right.
it has worked,
Okay.
It has.
because
I
the
can
person we
see-
had a couple months ago signed up and we came
Yeah,
through.
nothing is in there since our last public speaker, so.
Okay, we'll take a look into it, but thank you very much.
And I would think too, if somebody signs up under the crumbs that it worked, then they're gonna be at the meeting to speak.
Yeah.
Right, correct.
I don't know.
Okay. All right, and then, yeah, Greg, if you wanna get together with Kevin and kinda go over some of these, and we can talk after the meeting too. Okay. All right, we'll move on to item 9, consent agenda. So at this time, I take a motion to approve the agendas unless there was something being pulled out of any of the committees. No?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Kelly, is there a second?
I'll second
A second by Donna. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Item 10, discussion and possible decision on the acceptance of the monthly
I'll
treasurer's
make a
report.
motion to approve the monthly treasurer's report.
Okay, we have a motion by Peter, is there a second?
Second.
A second by Paul. Peter and Paul.
Yep.
Roll call,
We have
please.
a Mary.
Kelly Zebro,
Yes.
Megan,
Stankowski,
Yes.
Kaiser,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yep.
Kavensky,
Yes.
Mormon,
Yes.
Maple,
Yes.
Calandra Zebro.
Yes.
Okay, nice. Item 11, discussion and possible decision on the approval of the monthly vouchers list.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion by Donna, is there a second?
I'll second
And a second by Kelly. Roll call vote, please.
Calandra Zebro,
Yes.
Maple,
Yes.
Hanson.
Yep.
Orman,
Yes.
Novinsky,
Yes.
Kaiser,
Yes.
Stankowski.
Yes.
Kelly Zebro.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion will pass. Item 12, new business. Discussion and possible decision, the resolution for authorizing the issuance of and sale of not to exceed 15 million general obligation promissory notes.
Yeah, this is a formal resolution. Kevin Mullen from Baird was here last month, talked about the fact that this was gonna be coming. What this resolution does is it allows us to sell the bonds at the most optimal time without needing board approval. You set the parameters related to it has to be less than, I think it was 5% was listed in here. Or it was 5%, so as long as we sell them for less than 5%, we can sell them whatever makes the most sense based on what Kevin is seeing in the market. So if there's something that dips, we have the opportunity to take advantage of it versus have to come back and have a formal board meeting to request. So this is just, you're basically saying Baird and Rod and Greg sell the bonds that makes the most sense as long as it's below 5%.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Paul, is there a second?
I'll second it.
A second by Kelly. Questions, discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Item 12.2, discussion and possible decision, 4K from half-day to full days.
This is a conversation, due to budget, we are recommending, we being me, recommending that we move 4K from 4 half-days to 2 full days. Students will be divided into a Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday group. Parents would have the opportunity to kind of select which group they want to be a part of. Because of a fair number of Monday PD days, there'll be a handful of days that Monday group is gonna go Wednesday, Friday, just to kind of balance the days out. And that'll be a schedule a separate, like almost 4K calendar that Jolene will put out if this gets approved tonight. We also are in the process of working with some daycare providers to talk about some wraparound care and some care on those opposite days. We've had some conversations with a couple different daycare providers in our community that we already partner with for 4K. So we're having some conversations with them. But the first step is to get board approval of this decision tonight, if the board decides that this is the direction they want to go. And then that'll allow Jolene and her group to start the process for their open house to get some numbers and data related to what days kids want and exactly what our daycare needs are. So we aren't gonna talk anymore about hypotheticals, let's talk about real data that we have and let's problem solve from there. So I'm recommending approval of this.
Do we know what the cost savings is?
Right now, our midday route runs around $42,500 to $45,000 a year. in that general range.
So the cost savings then is just with the transportation?
With the midday route,
We're not
yep.
getting any different?
Staffing isn't an issue,
Okay.
no, nothing to do with per pupil, no, you're saving on the midday route, which is about $45,000.
Gotcha.
So that's where we're gonna save that
Correct,
amount, not
correct.
like half of it or something, okay.
No, because you're gonna eliminate the need for a midday route.
So that says there was 3 routes?
Many times.
Yeah.
Midday,
It's,
yeah.
well, no, midday.
There's 3 midday routes.
So I know it's been brought to the board probably, what, 3-4 times already, as far as changing it, so I guess if there's any cons in not to doing it.
Nobody's reached out to me on it, so.
No, the biggest con would be that all day is a long time for a 4-year-old. You know, and kids optimally don't learn, most of that day, you know, that
Nap.
bottom portion of the day, they're taking a nap.
Right.
You know, so you are taking away in terms of learning, but then again, I feel like our hand is forced. There's nothing that we can do about the budget, there's nothing that we can do about that, and so you just have to do what you have
And
to do.
if you followed the
Yeah.
state budget at all over the last probably 3 or 4 budgets, I guess I've been around long enough now that I've sat through a few of these.
Yeah.
The state, being DPI, and I believe the governor has put in to have full day 4K counted as a 1.0 FTE. Basically 4K would become like kindergarten, that'd be full day every day. Because right now, remember, they're only counted as a 0.6 FTE, so they're only they only counted 6/10 of a full-time equivalency. So there is eventually going to become, and a lot of districts are just moving on their own to a full K, a 4K
Well,
model.
yeah, especially if that were to become the case,
Yep.
but you still need 3 years though of them in, right, to get that full amount,
To
right?
get the full
'Cause
amount,
that's
it would be a little, 3-year rolling average,
yeah.
yep.
Is this affecting our enrollment at all?
No, I mean,
You don't think so?
there's gonna be positives and negatives. Some are gonna like
Yeah.
it, some are gonna say, because you had the
Yeah.
4-day, half-day, I took my kid to
Yep.
Everest or Wausau. I mean, it's one of those things you're not gonna really know until people have to check the
There's
box.
several neighboring districts that have all day, and it seems to work for them, you know, and their families, so.
You can pass it.
I think in the current environment, it's probably going to be more of a pro than a con because of the childcare issue.
Right.
The half day creates then that issue for the parents to find childcare the other portion. While it's not optimal for the little person to be there all day, absolutely agree. With a daycare shortage, it's an optimal solution.
And we have had surveys done.
Because it wasn't that many years ago that we were all day 4K. My daughter was one of them.
So
And she's a
it's-
7th grader, so.
I
it
think
wasn't
we've
that
covered
long ago.
every aspect of it that we can. Like you
Yeah.
said, it's more or less, you don't wanna use the word forced, but it's more or less what's best for the district, I guess, so.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Calandra, is there a second?
I'll second.
A second by Jessica. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Item 12.3, discussion and possible decision, the resolution of open enrollment space availability and projections.
Yeah, this is an annual thing we have to do every January. State statute requires us in January to state our space availability caps, they call them, for open enrollment. Years ago when it was, well, it's AGR now, it used to be, I don't even, Sage, thank you. I don't know whoever said Sage, somebody said Sage. It used to be Sage. There was a tight number that you had to abide by, and AGR had that similar number to that. So the space availability in those lower elementary schools were probably more of an important factor than they are today. But special ed is another area that a lot of school districts cap. I know it's come across admin highlights. I get the daily statewide administrator or school-related highlights, and a lot of schools are capping special ed. It's not uncommon for schools to cap special ed. We're not the only ones that are having this conversation right now. It is rather common. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn over to Brian, since this is his area of expertise with the open enrollment and the projections for the special education. So I think Brian's got a PowerPoint for you guys to take a peek at.
So real quick, I just put something just to go over the basic components. So when setting open enrollment caps, DPI is very forthcoming and saying, here are the things that have to be in your open enrollment policy, and I just quoted our policy there to say, this is what we have. But the big thing they're saying is you have to remain consistent with your process for approving and denials. To say you can't just, me as a director, I can't just look at IEP and say, I don't want that one. I have to have a process that actually states, here's what I take into consideration. So if you're gonna do that, they also say you have to look at things if there's a sibling, is the sibling getting a C? Is there a wait list if I am capped? And all that's gotta be outlined in your policy. So within our policy, we do have all those things stated. But the part I wanted to share with you is how I calculate this. So this is a form that our special education teachers use. Because last year, DPI really moved away from a caseload approach where everything was units to a workload approach. And the big difference is they try to encompass everything that special education does. So in the left side of the chart, you'll really see it kind of talks about that service delivery in regards to academics. How many accommodations does a student have? What does their specifically designed instruction minutes look like? Then at the bottom, how often are you actually communicating with families to discuss a student's progress? Then on the opposite side, on the right-hand side, that's where it looks more at health, safety, behavior concerns. And looking at those scores, as you see, there's a point. So last year with this being new, DPI said, you're switching to workloads, but didn't give you a way to actually calculate this. They said that's a local control thing. So I previously, before I switched CSIS, I sat on the board for my professional organization, and we created a lot of the resources. So this is a resource that many people in this area and across the state are using to help say, what is that workload? So what I look at too then, if the points you see at the bottom, a student can be either minimal, moderate, extensive, or comprehensive. If they fall into that minimal or moderate range, they qualify for 1 seat and take up 1 seat. If you're extensive, that's more like you count it for 2 seats, and then comprehensive counts as 3 seats. So that's how we're calculating that workload to say this is how much work it takes. But this is the way, like I said, DPI says we have to be consistent. This is our consistent process. So every single student had this completed before leaving for winter break so I could calculate workloads. Alright, so why do we create the limits? The biggest thing is we want to make sure we have the space to actually service the student's IEP. Because if we just leave it open, it becomes a situation where I could have a lot of students open enroll, and then I'm coming to you as the board and saying, I need more staff to make sure we are servicing IEPs as written. So it allows us to maintain that level of service and say, we want to deliver good services to our students. The other part is really to make sure it remains manageable. Because if those numbers grow and grow and grow, like it's different if it's within our district, it's students attending Mosinee, and we have to figure that out. But if we keep taking on it, it becomes that unmanageable. Like as we talk budget things too, if I'm coming to you asking for all this staff, that's difficult too, because as we know, IEPs and things like that are legal documents. Then lastly, just some additional notes that you'll notice on the projections that I gave you. I cannot determine space on a disability category alone. So I can't say I have this many seats for learning disabilities, this many for behavior. You will see everything as part of a program. So I mark everything as our cross-category program, and then for we also have our self-contained program that delivers the essential elements, which some of you may know as our intellectual disabilities program. But I cannot specify it to a disability, so that's why everything's worded. The other part too, for things we contract, visual impairment, deaf and hard of hearing programs, physical therapy, even through CISA. Since those are contracted and we don't have our own, they are automatically considered capped. So if someone applies and has those, because we technically don't have that service, we contract for that service. So that's why you don't see them reflected on your projections, because those are programs that we automatically say we do not have room for those because we don't have our own staff on hand for them. So, and then the second document is just the projections that I submitted to you guys for approval. So if you have any questions, but I just wanted to give you a little background on how that's calculated, because I know this came to you last year for the first time, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about how I do it and how there was that switch from caseload to workload.
Thank
you.
Yeah, it was low.
Yep.
Any questions?
Nice to have.
Okay. And then you had the sample language you wanted, is that it?
Yep, it's on the bottom of the projections.
Okay, yep.
Just because we have to actually specify what each number is, so I have a sample motion at the bottom.
So yeah, so this determines the actual numbers. So he's saying there's 8 special cross-categorical teachers in the elementary school, 57 students. That's a teacher ratio of 1 to 7. And he talked about the model, the current workload, and so then if you go all the way over to the right, you'll see that he's recommending there's 28 seats available in that, 2 seats available in the elementary self-contained, and then if Tom or whoever has it scrolls down, 5 in early childhood. Middle school, we have 10 in cross-cat, 3 in the self-contained. Keep going, and then our high school cross-cat is full, but our high school self-contained has room for 5. So then if you go down all the way to the bottom, speech and language, we have some seats available in speech and language, except for at the middle school and high school level. Our OT is full. So if you go all the way down the bottom, this is the language that Brian is recommending that says, the caseloads for next year, move to approve 28 cross-categorical seats at the elementary, 5 early childhood, 2 self-contained, 10 cross-cat at the middle school, 3 self-contained at the middle school, 5 self-contained in the high school, 22 early childhood speech and language, 16 elementary speech and language, and 10 middle school speech and language is the motion.
I'll make that
Brian is
motion
recommended.
exactly how it's written.
You don't want to read it again?
I don't want it read again.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Peter and a second by Paul. Any other questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, good job.
Item
Just that
12.4, new policy, minimum sports
Yeah.
numbers and coaching ratio. So this is just discussion.
Yes, this is just a discussion, and let me explain to you why. I know the board requested this. Mr. Leopold was unable to find anything, so I put Sheena on it for me for a couple, just to see if she could find me a couple sample policies. She did. Plus, there was one I already had created. So what I'm asking for is just an idea of the language. So this is the language that I would recommend. I'm not recommending approval of this yet because I haven't had a chance to sit down with Tom and Brad and Kurt and some of those individuals and talk about, what are the numbers that we want to slot in there for our recommendation. So all I'm really saying to you is tonight is the process has started. I didn't ignore your request for a future agenda item from last month. We did work on this. I just don't have it in a finished product for you yet, because I didn't get it until like a week ago or so. So I got together what I could.
Yeah, I don't remember ever seeing this in
Well,
6 years.
No, we asked.
No, it's the board, yeah.
Yeah, we did.
I
So-
had to leave the last meeting.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is fill the numbers out and bring that back next month for formal approval with the numbers filled in, and then we can go from there. So, if you have any feedback on the language, let me know.
You got it. Thank you. Item 13, administrative reports.
2 quick things. Referendum projects are going well. Steve Jamrose and crew and Steve Kaiser are doing a great job. We've made it through the first phase of the design process. We had our kickoff meeting here a couple weeks ago, or last week, the 10th. Was that last week was the 10th? So last week we had our kickoff meeting where all the engineers from all the different categories of work, structural, civil, mechanical, electrical, et cetera, kitchen consultant and whatever were present, and we went through a lot of stuff with that. And then Tom and I set a date with Steve Jamrose for next week on Wednesday And now Tom's gonna get together a schedule where all the impacted staff members, as part of the project, you know, getting new areas or whatever, are gonna get an opportunity to sit down with Steve Jamrose and look at the design, look at the plan, and provide any input as they see fit. So this is kinda, we're at a point now where the boxes are more defined, and so it gives us an opportunity to sit down and talk with them. And then Rod and I are in the process of getting ready to set the rating call. We have a preliminary rating call coming up with Baird. So we're getting in the process of getting that rating call finalized so we can get our bond rating and then move on. So there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. And then the last thing I just want to touch on is we had a group of administrators and teachers go to Tomahawk on Friday to work with Mia at CISA 9 and some individuals from CISA 4 that I've worked with previously on the use of artificial AI in education. So we had a nice conversation about that, and then we had Mia here today along with Christy Hull, who did a great job organizing it, and we had some conversations about AI tools and resources for our middle school and high school staff that they can consider utilizing in some cases just for their own aspects now to make some, you know, try to make some things easier. Or more efficient would probably be a better term than easier, make things more efficient. So they did a great job with that today, and you know, the elementary school will get included once Act 20 is off everybody's brain for a day or two, or a year or two. So they'll be included in this, but that's all I have for tonight.
Okay, got it. Rob, do you want to report anything?
Anything?
Nothing in addition to what I had.
What got written down?
Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you for the
Steve,
opportunity.
same, or, no? Rod? Good?
It's good.
Christy, Brian,
I have
Amy,
one
Tom?
thing.
One, go ahead.
Yep, yep. Brian has one thing.
Just as the information I put on there, just so you know, I worked with Greg and Rod. We transferred because the district previously owned our therapy dog Mosey. And we talked about how we would like to talk the future of Mosey as Mosey gets older, things like that. So we did work on a contract with Becky Herod and transferred ownership of Mosey from the district to Becky, with the understanding in the contract Mosey's still gonna be here, things like that. And when we get to the point that Mosey can no longer be our therapy dog, we'll have that conversation, but that way decisions will be with Becky to say what's best for Mosey versus me coming to you as the board saying, hey, do you want to pay for this vet bill? Do you want to do this instead of having you guys make those decisions? Because Becky has been Mosey's handler since the beginning. So we just transferred that ownership.
She about 6 or so?
She's 6, yeah, so, but I thank Becky for all of her work she's done with Mosey,
Oh,
the
yeah.
kids love Mosey, so it was just something we wanted to do as Mosey's getting older.
Right, right. Tom?
I guess I would just add on to some of Greg's remarks and things we've been up to, just planning for the referendum is, we've met now with, 2 different foundations who specialize in helping K-12s in the CTE area connect with local businesses and grants, to help find available grants out there, help us maybe find some in-kind match dollars as we're planning this new CTE space. So those meetings continue. Another group that specializes in helping design new spaces in the CTE area to make sure that they're up to industry standard. Help us also then with Steve planning where the different electrical, poles and things will need to be, so that way our infrastructure is set not just for now, but 10 years down the road as that space becomes used. So a lot going on the planning side of things.
To that point, the Fast Forward grant just came out
Yep,
today from the state, so we'll be looking at that.
Oh, wow, okay. Brad?
A big thank you to Mr. Bartnick and his students. They finished the sign for Ireland's bench. The bench is placed out in the entryway of the Kresge pool there. And we had family, friends, Mosinee PD, the administration to dedicate that bench to her.
Wonderful.
It's there if you would like to see it. The link did an article on it as well, and it should be published tomorrow.
Great. Jolene?
I talked a little bit in the structural programs meeting, but just wanted to highlight that the 17th was a really great day for our elementary teachers to be able to write their personal reading plans. Just a very productive work time where they were able to learn how to manipulate the form and then follow through with having that data and writing the plans. We've got a really good plan moving forward in how to communicate with families and then, each step of the way. I just want to thank Kathy Batala. She worked tirelessly on this, our reading team, our title teachers, and our classroom teachers, both Jen and Svet. They really have been very committed to doing things right and working very hard to make this happen, so.
Great, thank you.
Yes, and thank you for your support to let us have that day, so, yes.
Item 14, other reports, WASB.
Mosby, we have the Milwaukee Convention coming up tomorrow for who's going, and otherwise Wednesday it kicks off. I will be the WASB representative for the last time, and I have my package of resolutions. If anybody has anything or to tell me or would like to persuade me to vote a certain way, we have that. And then on February 27 is the school law conference. That's Elk Lake. Yep, and then on Wednesday, March 12th, we have a day at the Capitol, if anybody's interested in that, so.
Okay.
Otherwise, we will see everybody down in Milwaukee, I guess.
Okay, thank you. Item 14.2, CISA 9, Donna.
I went through the CISA 9 minutes, and about the only thing that was really of interest was that the Rhinelander School District has been recognized for their high grades from the U.S. News and World Report, and for the elementary school and the high school.
Wow.
And other than that, there really wasn't anything of real interest in their meetings are virtual now. For January, February, so, and the December meetings seem to be a real short meeting, so.
Got it. Thank you. Item 15, future agenda items. As
Yep.
you'll see, there's
There's
some
quite a
listed
few
already.
things on there. It's time to start talking about admin contracts, employee compensation. I believe Kevin sent out something to you guys related to my evaluation. So that'll be next month in closed session. CISA contract is out, so we're gonna be working on that. Academic and career planning guide is due next month. And then it's time, now that the referendum has come and passed, start talking about what a strategic plan development process might look like. So that'll be coming up. High school's presenting, and then we also have to talk about the SIP and DIP, the school improvement plan and the district improvement plan. Come back with you guys about how that's going and show you kind of our report cards. The local report cards we developed will be next month.
And then we'll add on the public forum.
Yep, and the public forum and the sport policy will be coming back. So yeah, the agenda's built already.
Perfect.
I love that acronym, that's great.
SIP
All
and
right.
DIP.
Anything else that somebody wants to come back for next month? All right. Moving on to item 16, movement into closed executive session. I would seek a motion to move into closed.
I'll make the motion. Do you have to read it?
Well, after
Okay, I'll second that.
Paul and Kelly. Okay. Roll call vote, please. I'll read it.
Zebro?
Yes.
Maple?
Yes.
Hanson?
Yep.
Kavensky?
Yes.
Gorman?
Yes?
Kaiser?
Yes.
Jankowski? Kelly Zebro?
Yes.
Okay, at this time, per section 19.85, Pren 1, Pren C reads, consideration, employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Do all of these? 16.3, section 19.85, Pren 1, Pren C, Pren E, and Pren F. Discussion and potential action to issue preliminary notice to consider non-renewal of an administrator's individual contract pursuant to Wisconsin Stats 118.24. Item B, discussion and potential action to provide notification to an administrative employee of the board's intent not to extend the administrator's individual contract for an additional 1 year beyond the existing term of administrator's individual contract agreement. And 16.4, section 19.85, Pren 1, Pren E reads, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specific public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. So, at this time, we are in closed.
Thank you.
5-minute break.
Thank you.